Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today here at the Shmuseum with plenty of chaos going on, but lots of updates and news for you, including a new Shmeemobile supercar that is right around the corner. More about that and the other cars that are going to be future additions here in the garage coming up today. Plus, thanks to our partners at eBay, I've been on a bit of a shopping spree, and when I say a bit, we've got quite a lot to unpack today. Things for the garage, some upgrades for the cars, and even a traffic light. I will explain all in just a moment. Plus today I want to talk a bit more about the garage itself, about the plans, what we're going to be building here, things that we've been working on behind the scenes as to how we're going to progress this place and bring you along for the journey as well. So lots of updates today. Let's get straight on with it. Firstly, let's have a quick run around, 2 or 3 minutes to go through all of the Shmeemobiles and the latest news. Although you might notice there are currently 4 cars that are missing from the garage. See if you can work out which they are. But in the meantime, let's crack on, starting with the Aston Martin V8 Vantage Roadster, my original Shmeemobile that I bought back a couple of months ago, but still in need of quite a lot of work, to be honest. We need to get it serviced, we need to change those tyres, which are over a decade old, and we need to do a host of different refurbishments to it, like the leather and the seat belts. We've then got the 2 cars that recently came back from my Euro tour over to Germany, the Porsche 718 GT4 and the AMG GTR Roadster, both of which are running brilliantly and picking up some good miles. The GT4 I've had for 4 or 5 months and done 4,500 miles in it. The GTR Roadster is about 9 or 10 months old and has done about 6,000 miles. But I'm actually using this quite a lot as a daily alongside the Taycan. We then come to the C63 Black Series, which I'm hoping to take away on a trip soon. But beforehand, it will need 1 or 2 things to be fixed with it. So we need to get cracking on with that. We've then got the GR Yaris, which we recently did a few more upgrades to over at Evolve and had a lot of fun over on the Shmuseum channel, blasting that around in a field here at the Shmuseum. We've then got 2 cars that haven't moved all that much recently, the Heritage Focus RS and the G63, both pretty practical cars that are going to stick around for a while and be used when required. Coming over to the other side, these 2, the oldest 2 cars, or rather the 2 cars that I've owned for the longest, the 675 LT Spider and the Aston GT8, doing a few miles here and there, but not really frontline, we could say. Before we come to one of the latest acquisitions, the Renault Clio 1.2 Dynamique that I bought via eBay Motors in an identical specification to the first car I ever owned as a 17-year-old back in 2005, the silver 3-door, and it's even wearing exactly the same number plate. And we've been doing some searching around on eBay Motors and via eBay Small Businesses to find parts to upgrade this into the ultimate sleeper. For example, to change the engine, to fix a few parts on it, and to basically make it something very cool. So all that's going to be coming in due course, and that's why, for a bit of fun, it sits here alongside the 2 flagships, the Ford GT and the McLaren Senna, each of which, believe it or not, are now coming up to being about 3 years old. Time has flown by, but they are magical cars, and both I'm hoping to enjoy a lot more in the upcoming future as well. And of course, we have the daily, the Porsche Taycan, plugged in at the moment to the C-Tech charger, getting that topped back up as well, which, as I said, leaves 4 cars that are currently missing. If you've not worked them out, the first of those is the BMW M3. That's out short term at the moment. It's a couple of months old, haven't done all that much with it, but I am thinking of changing the exhaust. Another that is currently missing is the SLS Black Series. That will be back in a couple of days as well. We've got the GT500. Now, I know a lot of you ask me about the Shelby Mustang. That is, of course, still over in the USA. It's in Florida. Eventually, it is going to come here. It will be amazing to have it with the Ford GT and with the Heritage RS. But in the meantime, while it's the only car I own in the US and spending quite a bit of time out there, it makes sense to keep it over stateside rather than bring it back and then every time I go over need to find a car. So I don't know how long it's going to be until I do eventually bring it over. Maybe at the end of this year, maybe early next year. We'll see exactly how that goes. The other car that's missing is the GT Black Series, of course being resprayed, but it will be back here in a couple of weeks or so before it will go for PPF, and I cannot wait to see the bright solar beam yellow amongst all of the other cars. So there's our whistle-stop tour of the current collection. Before we get to the future arrivals and the car that has come sooner than I anticipated, and even going through some of the build plans and more on the theme for what we're doing here, it is like Christmas thanks to all of the items, we can now unbox Christmas or maybe even a birthday, which is very topical, and hence why we have the balloon gantry here at the entrance, because it was my birthday the other day. And this has given me some ideas, which we'll touch on in a moment. But for now, these are all items that I've purchased from small businesses on eBay. Things, for example, like memorabilia to put on display, upgrades and car parts, and even things that will be useful here in the garage, things that have all arrived in the last couple of days. It has been non-stop deliveries, which has been very exciting, but I want to show you through some that I've started preparing and opening. I don't remember what everything is, but we will basically go through all of this starting right here. I know these boxes. This is a part from Mercedes, and in particular, this is something to do with the C63 Black Series. If I just unbox all of this, carefully does it because I don't want to drop this on the floor. This is actually an upgrade which is going to look really nice inside the car. Two parts. Let me do this carefully. Carbon fiber interior trim piece. So that goes around the automatic shifter. This is actually the part that sits just above it. The ashtray cover that goes there. That looks very, very nice. So that's going to be a nice upgrade that we will do inside the car and potentially lead us on to other things with that car, because you could have it with the rear seat delete, with bucket seats, with the roll cage. And it gets me thinking, given that we're going to be doing some work to the exterior, I guess we'll just start working through this, starting up here, cut off these. I don't know what this box is. We started opening it a little bit earlier, but clearly I need to attach some of the tape. There we go. Ah, yes, helpful. Trolley seats to sit on when you need to do anything with the cars. We're hoping to do some of the bits of work at the more simple end of the scale ourselves with the cars here in the garage. So we've got two of those. If it's just small touch-ups and things, maybe we'll get a portable lift if we need anything like that to be able to pick some things up. Obviously you need to get all of these prepped for the recycling later on. I'll leave them all just over to the side for the moment. Another car part I think we've got in here. This bag we'll open up. There's a lot of me learning how to open different types of packaging today. What do we have? I know what's in here. Some AMG valve caps, given there are lots of AMGs in the garage. Figured we'd go for some of those. We'll work out later on which cars in particular we're going to pop those onto. This one. Oh, these are really cool. These I found and I absolutely love them. Wait until you see what's inside this when I work out how to get it all opened up. So these are going to give us a hint right now as to the theme that I'm going for with this garage. The overall theme is very much going to be around motorsports. Of course, a lot of the cars in here are track-focused derivatives with big wings, limited editions, inspired by their racing siblings or whatever it might be. And I've been lucky to go to a lot of cool racing circuits around the world, filming videos over the years. And inside here, what we have are a series of road signs linking to various tracks. So metal signs. Apologies for all of the packaging noises as we go through to work out how exactly to open this. There we go. Wait until you see all of these. This is actually really cool. So these will go on display around the garage. We have Monza, Spa-Francorchamps, Le Mans, obviously in the different countries' signs, Silverstone, Hungaroring, Circuit of the Americas, Nürburgring, Circuit de Catalunya, Portimao, Red Bull Ring, and back to Monza, all places that I've been. And I was tempted to order one for everywhere I've been. It ended up being a really long list. So we decided to cut that a little bit shorter and chose just 10 or so. So those are really very nice as well. Put all the boxes over this way. Where next? What should we start with? I think we should go for this one down here. Carefully does it. Slice open up top. What do we have inside? Some Sealy parts, always good fun. Some axle stands. Now, as you saw recently, the guys actually took the C63 Black Series wheels to Whoops Will Fix It when I wasn't here, and they popped it up on some axle stands that Brad owned, but I figured for the garage, we needed some sets of those ourselves. So we picked up some of those, and they'll be useful for sure down the line, one to have around for the times we need it, basically. Going onwards then to the next package. This is really quite exciting. Normally I take my time over opening packages, but today I feel like we're just kind of racing through and we'll see what we have got. inside each of these various boxes. What do we have here? Ah, yes, these are some stools. So these are some bar stools. Maybe I'll just pull out the backrest so you can see. Checkered flag style bar stools. I was thinking that these could end up going basically up on the mezzanine, the games area, you could say. So that's the plan with those. Those are going to need a little bit of assembly. So I'll probably, for the moment, squeeze that back in there. But that's really nice. So those are cool. Slide that over to the side. We've only just touched the surface of all of this. So what else do we have? Pull off the bands on here. Throw those in there. This. Ah, yes, I know exactly what this is. This is a torque wrench, because obviously with wheels and tyres needing to be changed quite frequently, we needed to pick up ourselves a good bit of kit in terms of a torque wrench. So I went with a proper Sealy wrench, good for the purpose. See a bit of a theme here, can't you, with some of the parts that we've been acquiring and accumulating for the garage. So this has been, you can imagine it's quite fun shopping for lots of things that are going to come in useful. Oh, I know what's in this little packet. This is a bit of fun. Some of you might know this instantly. Living the Supercar Dream, the book that I published a couple of years ago. My experiences of driving some cool cars around the world. We thought we'd pick up a few copies to have as well on display here in the garage. So we've got some of those. Let's get rid of this for a moment. Back over here, wow. This is still like the start of all of this. So we've got in this, oh, this is also cool. This is also really cool. I know exactly what we've got in here. This is a pile of US number plates. We have a plate from every state in the United States of America. That's really, really cool. Again, for a display piece that I'll put together on the wall. Rhode Island, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, Oregon, Oklahoma, Ohio, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey. I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but this will make a really nice display actually when we put all of those up on the wall, all 50 of those. Put that back there for the moment. This is a heavy one, a really heavy one, really, really, really heavy one. I don't actually know how to open that myself. Maybe we just cut these for the moment, work out how to open it. This is, oh, there we go. A proper trolley jack, again needed for the changing of the wheels and the tyres in the garage. So we've got a serious heavy duty trolley jack. That's not the easiest thing to move on my own. And we've got a little spider down there as well. Oh well. What are these? Ah, these are storage racking. Garage storage racking. So these are probably not the best to open right now, but those are 4 very high storage racks. They're going to be used obviously for housing all of the car parts. We'll get some stacker boxes to put on them with all of that side of it. These 2 are actually air purifiers, which are things we need to help with the dust and obviously to make it a slightly more pleasant environment. So we picked up 2 of these, which are obviously serious pieces of kit. Am I going to be able to lift this out? Whee, there we go. Pop that down on the floor. Oh, yes. Oh, and it comes with instructions and filters and things. We'll have some fun setting that up. Got 2 of those. Also here, these I guess I don't really need to unbox if you have a look on the side. 2 trestle tables, because I think we're going to be taking off some body parts, probably bumpers at some point, exhausts, changing parts on the Clio, so we'll have to do that. And you can probably tell what this is as well. Rotating whiteboard. So that's a rotating whiteboard. So we've got some unboxing to do, some setting up to do, but that's a pretty cool haul, all from small businesses on eBay. Somehow I managed to completely miss the elephant in the room, the traffic light that we have just here. This also found on eBay is the perfect kind of memorabilia that I love in the garage. We have a switch to fully illuminate our UK London style traffic light. We've got individually controlled switches as well, depending exactly how we would like this to be. And that is the kind of thing that I think in here, when we have memorabilia pieces around all of the cars, is going to look really very nice. So I'll need to work out exactly where that's going to go and what we'll do with it, but something quite fun could be down the line. Let's talk for a few minutes then about what we're going to be constructing and how we're going to be presenting the garage. Now, this has always been the plan to bring you along behind the scenes, and now that we've been here for 2 months or so, we have a much better idea of how we're using the garage and how we'd like it to look. And on the Shmuseum channel, we will be sharing a lot more of the build and transformation process. But to give you a bit of an overview, as I said, the main theme is going to be motorsports. Now, I love driving at the Nürburgring, driving at as many different tracks as possible, and so many of the Shmeemobiles are track-focused versions with wings on the back. The Senna, the GT, the LT and the GT8, even the Heritage RS, the Yaris, the C63, the GTR, the GT4, and some of the missing cars, the GT500, the SLS Black and the GT Black as well. So it's very much on theme to make this a motorsport playground, to get creative with the design. And I want to start talking a little bit more about how the office area is going to be built. And the intention was always to make it feel very airy, to have lots of glass, to make it feel very light and with a fantastic view out towards the main hall. So picture when you're standing here, this will effectively be an enclosed glass lounge area with an open halo space, we can call it, a bit like a pit box towards the side before we have the kitchenette and the facilities over there. Above, up top, we'll have some railings as if you're in the grandstands at a racing circuit, with some offices behind with more glass to feel a bit like VIP hospitality, let's say. So this is going to be like the terraces at a motorsport circuit, and this is where this has kind of given the idea to have some kind of gantry entrance. But I was also thinking out here in the main hall to make it feel like you're coming into a race circuit, to have a start line on the floor, to have some curving, to have a mural on the end wall to make it look like you're disappearing off into the distance, perhaps out on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, to give that whole track vibe and feel. So that's how all of this is going to develop. We've got lots of different plans, lots of things we're working through, but basically there's been a lot of time needed to think through all of this, to work out how exactly we want to do it. For example, having the entrance room, then going into the lounge, having a clever way to display all of this. Stay tuned, believe me, this is going to be really very, very cool, to have that pit box vibe, to have the grandstand type vibe, and upstairs we'll have some simulators, we'll have some toys, a bit of a man cave, if you will, in the whole setup, and of course some of the pieces that we have here will be on display all around all of that as well. Then out here, we're still going with the idea of having car lifts down this wall, so more of the storage side, and then this side becomes more of the museum with mannequins, with statues, with different things to put on display with some of the halo cars. So there's a lot that we do need to work out, but this is going to be really, really cool when it's done. This means it is time to talk about the future additions to the collection, the upcoming Shmeemobiles, and 5 cars in particular I'd like to talk about, which might or might not be everything. We shall have to see. And of course, crucially, the car that's coming a little bit sooner than I anticipated. Now, first up, I recently confirmed the specification for my Ferrari SF90 Stradale, my first new Ferrari, which will of course sit on this side of the garage. That's going to be due around March or April next year. Of course, there might be some small movement. We'll see as we get a little bit nearer. Also due at a similar time will be the new Lotus Emira First Edition. Now, I've not done the specification for the Emira yet, or locked in my engine and gearbox configuration, and I think there are only going to be a couple of different options that you can choose for the First Edition. It's basically fully loaded. So when I get to doing that, I think the car should be due around spring next year, but we'll have to see exactly because the delivery dates are not yet confirmed. Now, after that, a car that I've thrown my name in the hat for, fingers crossed, you never know with allocations, is to be able to swap up the GT4 for the new GT4 RS. Now, I believe that should be revealed in not too long, having seen them going around the Nürburgring for quite a while now. Obviously, having owned the 981 GT4 and the 718 GT4, I'd love to have a 718 GT4 RS to use as quite a bit of a Nürburgring track tool. So fingers crossed on that one. Now, something a lot of people ask me about is when is a V12 going to return to the garage? And I've been working on it for a while. I would very much love, as you will no doubt know, to add another Ferrari V12 to the garage, and I think it might happen before too long. That's the plan. That's certainly the intention. So as I always like to say, watch this space. Maybe it happens before we know it. Now, I've recently had news about a car completing production that I wasn't quite expecting for another month or two, and that is, of course, my Lamborghini Huracan STO, my first ever Lamborghini, adding a V10 back to the garage. It has completed production at the Lamborghini factory in Santa Gata Bolognese over in Italy, which means now it begins the process to come over to the UK to be transferred over to go through PDI and then eventually to collect the car. Now you might remember, due to the way the manufacturing works at the moment, the car is in the body colour of Viola Bast. It won't have all of the external yellow accents, which is something I'm hopefully going to get done straight after delivery when I've chosen exactly the best method and what I'm going to do with that. But that will all be coming very soon. So yes, the Lamborghini is probably a month away. I thought it would be here around Christmas. So that's a very, very welcome surprise and a bit of an update on the future Shmeemobiles. And I'm sure there'll be a few more beyond that. And I'm sure some of these will at some point be departing, he says, just looking around. I'm not sure many of them will, to be honest. There are a lot of keepers here in the collection, and the 3 of the 4 that are out are all keepers as well. So perhaps it's going to be growing, and that is why we need to get the lifts in over on that side. I did say that it was going to be quite the chaotic garage update, going through all of the Shmeemobiles present and future and talking more about the theme and the plans for how the Shmuseum is going to evolve. And while the gantry of balloons might not be inflated forever, it has certainly given me some ideas as to how exactly we can use this entrance space. For example, having an area here for a car that's just driven in, perhaps it's dirty, before the grand entrance to go in towards the main hall, and still having the space just off to the side for the EV, the daily driver, to charge it up or whatever it might need over that side. And obviously, if entering on foot, coming in through the reception room and then into the lounge before going upstairs as well. But the fun of all of this has been to get started, to come here to the barn, to start using it and living with it, to get a feel for how exactly we want this space to be. Of course, we could have had it all completed before ever coming in, but the fun of it was seeing the transformation. Remember, it didn't used to have a concrete floor. It certainly didn't have this lighting, and we've gone this far already, but it's still very much the beginning. We need to get the lifts in, we need to get the office in, we need to change and adapt so many things, and that's the fun of the Shmuseum channel as well, to bring you behind the scenes for the evolution of this garage, with so much to come in the future. Today though, it is a big thanks to our partners eBay, who have been part of this journey from the beginning, and of course to the small businesses from whom I have purchased many items here before now and will in the future as well. Everything from memorabilia to put on display, to car parts, to things we need in daily life here, to even construction materials that will be part of the build that is all going to be coming over the next couple of months as well. If you're interested in setting up your small business on eBay, particularly in the automotive segment, do get in touch and we can introduce you with that as well. For today though, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this garage update. Thank you again to eBay as well. Without them, it would not have been possible. That's it for now though, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.